Okay, these films were made in 1939. Elmo Inn and Bill the Barber's Barbershop. Peggy Anderson washing windows in the Elmo Inn. Mrs. Munkelwitz. Ray Went. Bill Reed coming out of the feed mill. Pretty husky little fella. Section men, George Paul, Ernst Creeby, Mike Wood, and Chase residents in the background. George Paul. This gentleman slips my mind who his name is. He's familiar, but I can't remember. And this young fellow also I do not know. Mr. Metzke twisting her tail to get her going, looked like one half pull, and she started right up. A.R. Chase lighting up the old hay burner. These films were made shortly after I hit the Philippines and sent back a roll of film. I think got Dad started on the movie-taking deal. This is my younger sister, Eleanor. Fred Strife, the old bank building in the background, going into Bill the Barber's Barbershop. Beer store in the background. Boyd Eritz, Mr. Sinnott, Grandpa Sinnott. Jack Sinnott's on the right, just in the picture and then gone. Ernst Grebe, Allie Bershens, Mr. Brookman. Don't know who's reading the paper out, leaning up against holding up the front wall of the barber shop. Ben Frederick. There, Ben again, not a gray hair. I think it was one of the Ertl boys, worked for Paul Snyder in the mill. Bobby Weir. One of the Boydell youngsters, grown-up men now. I think this is Bill the Barber, I'm not certain. Gilbert Metzke, coming in for a Sunday morning, I guess. Large tanks in the left rear, I believe, were Co-op Oil Company. Good old Gib. Allie Bershin and his steam car, pumping up the tires, high-pressure tires. Allie's daughter. Mr. Bershins. There we go, steam power, probably about 20 horsepower. Even goes in reverse. That's chain drive, I think. That's the Bershin's home place in the background. Here they come, Allie and Aggie and the two kids. Real good, nice close-up. I believe this set of views here was at an auction. This particular, which one is Ray Anderson? Which particular one it was? Ray Kern. No doubt you will be able to recognize more people than I. The auctioneer is really doing a job. It's Spence Jennings there. Dr. Shield right behind him. Mark Snyder there on the left. Here's Allie again. Always got to eat at an auction. And drink. George using them. Colbert Snyder in the light-colored suit. Spence Jennings again. There's Aggie and daughter. Steve Malone. A lot of familiar faces. I can't recall the names, however. Frank Manetsky there on the left. Auctioneer is really earning his money the way it looks. Sam Dornfield in the middle. Walter and Paulie Albright. Looks like one of the Art Boys and Rudy Meyer, I think. This is Gus Goldberg, the section foreman up at Oakdale, out in front of the depot at Lake Elmo, which is long gone. Dad took this in slow motion because Gus had a real swinging gait on him. I understand he injured his hips at one time, causing him to swing and sway. Pretty good ache. Neil Malone pulling his empties out to go back to have the cows fill them up. This is just about, I think, 1940, when Twin City Milk Producers Association plant was running full bore. Art Larson at the feed mill. Meyer Mercantile Mill. Bell Reed. Otto Ramin unloading probably corn to be ground. The Duke, conductor on the way freight in the railroad. View of the skyline from St. Paul. It looks like possibly taken from the bridge near South Robert. And here's one of Dad's speeded up deals. Now we go into winter. This is my sister Elmer, youngest sister. My cousin Paul Myrick from California. And Lucille, my older sister. Lucille Krongard Bell. Dad and Lucille giving a demonstration how to light a cigarette. Paul, Lucille, and Elner in slow motion in the backyard there. And Lucille coming out, all dolled up. A lot of these films were taken especially for me. I was in the Philippines at the time. Dad sent them out to me. This is my cousin Mel, mother's sister's son. That's my mother's sister, Minnie, from Minnesota, her name was, Virgil. Both of these folks, of course, have passed away years ago. This is my great-uncle, Daniel Boone Thatcher. For you people in Lake Elmo, this is the Vern Owens family. He was section boss. Don't know who that is. Got some very good color sunset shots throughout these reels. There are three 200-foot reels altogether on this videotape. This is a wedding party. Don't know who they are. They look a little familiar. I hope you folks can recognize them. The old steam train coming by. But we need some sound effects for a whistle there. I think this is Bill the Barber's house down at the lake. Not certain. Yeah, very, very good color pictures of fall foliage along the lake, taken out of the car through the windshield, coming up from south of town. These are some of the first color film that was available for 8mm cameras. Elner and my cousin Paul. Ernie McElkey's home, all the nice flowers. Looks like a little hailstorm there. Rain and hail. Don't know whose farm this is. It's obviously a dairy, and this next view of corn shocks and someone there shucking corn. I don't know the man. I probably should. Donald Hasley and his road grader. Like Paul Snyder up there, superintending the planting of fish in the lake. I think one of these people is Arnold Neepelt. I'm not sure. That one right there, I think, is Arnold. George and Charlie Huseman. Big day of fishing the way it looks. Don't see any fish though. George and his dogs. And George and Charlie were two of the herd that furnished a lot of milk to be hauled around town. This picture was taken to the east of town with the church steeple, the old church steeple there. Dad had a bug on the windshield the way it looked. Some of the autumn colors approaching town from the south. This thrashing rig, I'm not too certain, but I think it is out at Otto and Bill Ramin's place. Yes, that's Bill Ramin pumping up the tire. On the Getzel boys, I think they're bagging. One of the Getzel boys running the blower tender. Yeah, that's Bill Remain putting the thrashed grain in his granary. One of the Kearns and Walter Getzel, the way it looks. Young lady Art. Seagulls on a freshly plowed ground. Art Bush running the tractor. Bush farm in the background. Looks like a train coming. Galloping Goose, diesel, one of the first, I believe. I think these pictures were taken along St. Croix, yes, on the Stillwater side of the St. Croix in the fall, very obviously. Yeah, on the bridge over the St. Croix at Stillwater over to Holton. Coming down the Holton Hill onto the bridge, Stillwater ahead. A little park there right by the bridge. Sure beautiful colors. And Cousin Paul again. He thought Minnesota was quite the place. These flowers, I believe, are in our backyard there in Lake Elmo. Yeah, Lake Elmo, that old Y camp there, that first house, looks like leaf burning time. North shore of the lake. There's a light engine coming out of the shops, all shined up and all painted up. Martin Brookman, Lake Elmo, Minnesota. Carl Bush. Gee whiz, no gray hair, neither one of those guys. Chicago, St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Omaha. Light engine. Fulbert Snyder, Lester Gersh, Sherman Snyder, Earl Gersh. Real chickens, aren't they? Must have been prior to the war. These guys not in the service yet. What a crew. Now here is a real priceless series of pictures of a steam engine running a thrashing rig, I believe, on the Burson farm. At least Allie's doing the firing there. Fulbert and Allie, and I don't know who the other gentleman on the left is, but you can see the long belt going through into the separator. George Paul and Mike Ernst, Otto Schultz on the Speedster, and that was Bill the Barber and Mrs. LaRue here. Arnold Neepel, Chairman Snyder, Rudy Lohman, Lester Gersh, Wilbur Bush, Earl Gersh, old Ray Kern, Mrs. Beers, Sam Dornfield, Gilbert Meyer, in slow motion, washing the Hagberg windows, Mr. Jensen and Mr. Martin Brookman. $400. Frank Winetsky, Bud Beers, Mr. Gunke, Sherm Snyder again, Art Krongard, obviously a bartender, but I don't know which one he was. Jim Charlie and his local milk delivery. Irwin Boydle, the old bank. Mr. Metzke, Joe Krongard, Jim Beers, Mr. Ryko, quite a car. Norm Conrad and Homer Arndt going duck hunting or pheasant hunting. Bud Wallen, Rudy, Sonny, I didn't catch the other one. Bill Reby, reaching for the snooze. Mike, Mr. Redpath, and Tim Ebney. Frank Soup. Jim and George Beers. Mr. Eater, Mr. Markroff, Mr. Wendt, Mr. Winetsky, Mr. Lohman, A.R. Chase himself, away freight, highball, and out of town. In this group, unloading cars from Detroit, Martin Brookman, superintendent of the job, Tim Edney, Les Gerst, brand new, Mr. Grunke, repairing shoes, the way they did it in the old days. Fred Grunke was pretty good at his job. Looks like he's stitching up a harness. These views were taken in Bud Wallen's cabinet shop, where he made, among other things, radio cabinets. Norm Conrad just sanding it right down to nothing, practically. Looked like Zenith radio cabinets. And Bud Wallen, superintendent of the production. Earl Gerst, looked like he was washing the Skelly sign. Frank Schneider. Louis Schneider in his blacksmith shop making a hook. There's Louis coming out of the post office after hard days at the forge. Butch Eater, Cliff Gurse, loading probably casein at the Twin City Milk Producers. There's Cliff and Butch heading home. There's our trusty mail carrier, softball coach, kitten ball coach, Art Gilderman. Mr. Eater and Mr. Frederick coming out of the bar after who knows, maybe a Boilermaker or two. Albert Meyer. Otto Marty. Financial institution of the village of Lake Elmo. Irvin Boydell, and here comes R.G. Mr. Malone and possibly a grandson. Joe Brookman got the old box of snooze. Rudy Lohman. Len Weir and his Johnson Seahorse out on the lake. Looks like winter's coming around the mountain. Taken out of the window of the depot, Mucklewitz's house. This is the old proverbial pot-bellied stove in the depot. Even the smoke looks cold. Water barrel for the section men to drink. Ernst Reby on the left. Here's a sleigh, horse and sleigh. Pretty heavy snowfall. Bud Snyder playing hockey. It's the only one I can pick out there. Camera shy someone. Leonard and crew at the Twin Point, blinking eyes and all. Lolly Snyder, Les Gorse, Art Bush, down in the brew. Bob Cullopy and his standard milk. Slow motion section man. That Mike Woods bringing up the rear. Gail Kittlinger. More camera-shy young ladies. There's somebody really working hard loading into the feed mill. See if you recognize these young girls and boys. These views were taken with some fast-moving kids, of course, getting out of school, right at the little bridge coming across onto the highway. Too bad they didn't move slower so we could, well, this is better. You recognize them? One of the Ryko kids, one of the Loman boys. Here they go, really working hard again. Dad made a few little cartoons of his own there. It's a scene in the Elmo Inn. Joe Krongard, Raymond. Let's see. Some of them I don't know. These were taken. I was overseas in the Orient. Tim Ebney, Mike Krongard, Homer. Looks like Dad might have had a drink or two to where he's moving the camera here. Lascars. Ray Anderson really pulling the spigot. Out Marty. Fairly good pictures considering the fact the lighting was a little bit too low. Ed went there. There's Ed again. Allie Bershens. Yeah, Sherm Snyder and one of the Albright fellers. The old service station. Sherm's a youngster. Fishing off the dock down at the lake. I don't know who these young folks are, but looks like pretty high water. Yeah, it looks like a little silo filling on Harry Kern's place, I believe it is. These fellas look familiar, but I don't recognize their name at all. Yeah, it's Gib Metzke for sure. Yeah, this is Harry Kern. It must have been at his place where they were filling silo. These are scenes of seining for some type of fish. It must have been a junk fish of some sort. Cleared the lake of them, I believe. And they got to have a little lunch and a little bit of beer, too. Looks like booyah to me. Wiener roast. And the following scenes are at the Rod and Gun Club, and according to Dad's information on the film can, it was probably in Wisconsin, anyway, around Stillwater someplace. Yeah, here comes a freight up the hill out of Stillwater, approximately by Stillwater Junction, I think, with the helper pushing. Days of the old steamers are gone, of course. This is the 400 Streamliner, about the same location. This is an auction. I believe it's Art Snyder's auction when he sold out. John Eder there. Seems like everybody eats at these places. Frank Snyder. Irvin Boydell. There's Art. They're back to us. Mrs. Frank Snyder on the right. There's Mrs. Emma Gers. Mrs. Fulbert Snyder. Louis Snyder's daughter and Mrs. Fulbert. There's Frank, or rather Art Snyder, and Irvin counting the money. Ought to remain buying something. Johnny Eder. Bud Snyder and Frank. Out of Duro. Bill Reed. Mr. Strife. Otto Remain with a few goodies. This is Pete Dittman. Looks like he's storing a little something or other, probably corn. This little pony cart was, I believe, driven by the man that purchased the old YWCA camp on the lake. Some more fishing scenes down the lake. Looks like Bill Gorman and boy. believe these scenes were taken at Bayport. Yeah, this is the way to do it. Come out of the river right on up to the diving board and try it again. Just like that. Yeah, it looks like somebody digging out of the snow on the main street. Irvin clearing away for the customers at the bank. And Martin Brookman's crew doing the same. Frank Winetsky, I believe. It looks like they got about a foot and a half there. Like spring is about to break out there with a little wind. And the depot, which is long gone. Yeah, quite a lot of ice there yet. Either the freeze up or the thaw, I'm not sure. The Y camp over across the lake there. It looks like Dad's 38 Pontiac. Before the days of pavements, the way it looks. Old Frank Winetsky grading the mud. Yeah, I'll be done here pretty quick. Looks like the first robin getting a bath in the backyard of the old home place there. Dad raking the leaves, I don't know. Maybe fall, but maybe not. Yeah, spring cleaning. Dad beating the old rug. And Mrs. 1940, as we can see there by that title. I believe this particular roll of tape started in 39, and now we're into 40. Looks like summer's come, all right. These scenes were at Minneapolis at the Falls of the St. Anthony on the Mississippi. I believe Dad went up and took these to show the starting point of the 400 on the way to Chicago. Minneapolis, Chicago in 400 minutes. 400 miles, 400 minutes, as I remember the advertising. Just pulling out of the Union Station over the bridge. Fauché Tower in Minneapolis. Looks like pictures down at the lake again. Somebody out hunting. Looks like Tim Ebney may be on the right there. It's the way it was done in the old days. First-class mail thrown off in a fly. Bird bath with no birds. Possibly Christmas time at, looks like St. Paul, 1940. Dad's favorite cat sitting on the instrument table at the depot. And that's the driveway of the house at home, and the creamery and the state capitol, St. Paul. St. Paul Winter Carnival. Must have been about early 1941. The king and the queen of the carnival. Nice looking Svenska gal. Yeah, it looks like they're building the ice palace out of blocks of ice. V for victory. I'm ski jumping, I think, at Highland Park. Not certain of that location.